Pilgrims, and welcome to another episode of the Polygon Pilgrimage. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the scripting that I did in order to make some easy pipe intersections. Now these two pieces are from my modular sewer kit, which you may have seen, and as I was developing this I knew that I needed to have 3 to 5 variations of diameter of pipe, and I need multiple types of pipes. I need straight pieces, I need these intersections, I needed some T intersections. So I didn't want to have to do this over and over again because creating this shape manually would be quite a pain. Lots of welding of verts manually. You want to make sure you have exact precision when you're dealing with a modular kit. So instead what I did was I went ahead and wrote a simple little Maxscript. It's only 12 lines, and what it will do is it will do a lot of things for us, but it will basically take us from this pipe to this pipe, and then we can move on with our day, and it's very quick and easy. So let's go ahead and look at how we created that. I'm going to first go to Maxscript and say New Script, and here's our scripting window. Now I should mention that in order to discover most of these commands, I either did some quick Google searching, or if you bring up the Maxscript listener, I have it off screen here. Let's remove all this. So what the Maxscript listener does is it shows you what the internal max command would be for the various actions. So if I click, say, the pipe here, it shows me select. $sign is the indication for this is an object, and this is the name of the object will follow this. So then we have S pipe C 48X, and it's 002 because I've been making multiple copies as I test the script. So this tells me, hey, this is how you select this object. Now if I were to move this object, notice it tells me move the selected object, which is our $sign, to this position in space. And if I undo that, it tells me action man execute undo scene operation. So there are ways to undo, to redo, all kinds of things using Maxscript. So for the moment we're going to get rid of that, and I'm actually going to close the listener because I already have the code figured out, but I just wanted to show it to you guys that it is there for you to play around and find things that you might need. So now let's talk about in pseudocode, we call it. This is English language that is used to describe the actions that the code is going to take. What is it that we want to do? Well, we need to select our object, right? There we are. We need to center the pivot. That's going to be important. Then we're going to need to make a copy of it. Next, we want to rotate that copy. Then we're going to want to do a pro boolean to create the intersection for us. Then we're going to turn it into an endable poly. Turn it into ePoly. Next, on line 7, we are going to select all of the vertices in our newly created object. So select all verts. There we are. We're going to set our weld threshold because we're going to weld any stray verts that may have been created during this process. Then we're going to go ahead and perform the weld, and there's 2 lines involved in that, but that's okay. Then we're going to select all of our faces, and then we're going to do an auto smooth. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put code in here, and I'll show you one step at a time how this works. Let me add some spacing here for you guys, and when we're all done we're going to remove all this. You'll see that it ends up being just 12 easy lines of code. Okay? So at the very top, to select our object, the code to do that is we're going to actually tell it, we're going to parameterize it, and with a parameter or a variable, it's like a little bucket of memory in the computer. We say, remember this for me. So imagine if you were able to remember 30 numbers at once. You just have a bucket for each. You can easily point to each bucket. We're going to call our variable a equals selected. So what that means is now when I have an object selected and I run the script, it's going to say, this object that you're pointed at right now, I'm going to remember that as A. And then whatever operations we do to A, it will do to this object. So to center the pivot, I'm going to say a.pivot equals a.center. So take the pivot of this object and put it to the center of this object. Easy enough. Now I'm going to say B, a new piece of memory, is equal to an instance of the selected object. So now we have a copy of our original object. And I want to rotate that, so rotate B, and here's how we do this. We say ang angle axis of 90. And I need to tell it on what axis do I want you to rotate. So X, Y, and Z. So I want it to rotate on the Z axis. So there we are. So we're going to take our B object, which is a copy of A, our original object, and we're going to rotate it, angle axis rotation of 90 degrees on the Z axis. Now, pro Boolean, this is a little more complex, so let me just copy it and paste it in here for you. So what this says is, perform a pro Boolean operation, create our pro Boolean object. Our two source objects are A and B, and we want to, these three parameters, 0, 2, and 1, refer to the parameters inside of pro Boolean. So I want an intersection, I want to delete the original, those kinds of things. So you can find these when you look at your pro Boolean, you can find those options in there. Now we're going to turn this into an editable poly. So I'm going to say convert to poly, and it's important that you do the casing like this as well, A. I'll turn this into an editable poly. Now to select all the verts, copy and paste my lines here. To select all the verts, we do a poly operation of set vert selection of our object A. I want to select all vertices, and that's the command for all vertices. Now the next thing we want to do is say, now I have all my vertices selected, what is the weld threshold that I'm about to use? So I'm going to say a.weld threshold equals, and I happen to know it's 1.5 for this scale object. You could parameterize this as well and have a little dialog that comes up, and when the user runs the script, they could enter a value and say, that's what I want to do. So there we are. Now that that's done, I'll copy this next line so I can explain it. We're going to actually perform the weld, but this is kind of setting up for the weld. So I'm going to say all of my vertices are equal to, and this command here is going to go through the entire object, every single vertice, and just create sort of a selection out of all of those. So polyup get number of total verts in A, 1 to the total number, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way until the total number, and we're going to store that as a variable called all verts. Now, our next command, we're going to perform another poly operation. We're going to weld by verts by threshold. So we're going to weld by the threshold on object A, and what verts are we welding? We're welding all of them. Finally, we're going to select all of our faces. So a polyop.set face selection for object A, and again we want to select all faces. And now we want to auto smooth the object. So we're going to say a.auto smooth, so smooth everything up. And there we go. So now we take this object, and to run the script, what we're going to do is, you can see under here, under, I believe it is tools, which is an odd place for it to be. Evaluate all is Control E. So I've just memorized Control E, and that's what I use. So if I hit Control E, you'll notice now I have two objects which are completely identical now, but we've taken our original object, which was just the cylinder. We've made a copy of it. We've rotated that copy. We've done a pro Boolean with the original copy. Then we've gone through here and we've gotten all of our vertices, and we got them welded up so that we don't have any seams or any gaps. And there we go. Now, the important thing to remember when doing this is it will destroy your original selection. So I don't have access to that object anymore. It's now this object. So before you do this operation, I recommend you make a copy off of your object, perform it to make sure it works. And just for chagrins, let's take a look at what happens if we, thank you. If I select this, let's run it again. And you happen to end up with the exact same thing. But if we rotate by, say, 45 degrees, check this out, we should get an interesting result by running our script. Invalid Boolean. Yes. So that was an experiment, that's okay. So you can experiment with your code and try it out on multiple objects, but what I really recommend is trying it with a duplicate first, because you don't want to destroy your original, because you can't undo that kind of an operation. Okay? So here's the script for you guys. Let me, I'm going to clean it up just a little bit. Let's see. select all vertices, weld threshold. Yeah, that looks pretty good actually. Okay, so this is our final script, and if you look at my my cheat sheet over here, you'll notice that my final script over here is only 12 lines of code. It's just one command right after the other, and all we've done here is just kind of spaced it out a little bit and explained what's happening in every step. So if you guys would like this code, I'm going to go ahead and put this up on the website, and I will link it in the description to where you can get to the code. And I hope you have enjoyed very much, and this will make making pipe intersections for you so much easier. So guys, as always, I hope you have enjoyed, and please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and keep practicing, get better, and I'll see you next time as the pilgrimage continues.